Now, I know this is somehow everyone's favorite, yet least favorite topic at the same time, but let's once again talk about Kathleen Kennedy and her status at Lucasfilm, about her contract, all the rumors that are always swirling around her, and ask whether or not she's likely to be going or staying with the company. And so first of all here, let's talk about what we know with absolute certainty, which is that Kennedy's contract, which sees her as head or president of Lucasfilm, expires this year. That we know for sure. What's not as clear is when exactly during the year it is up, with some saying it was set to expire in September, which doesn't seem to be right considering that time is now come and gone, and others saying the actual or official date is October 30th, which would make sense since that is the anniversary, the 9th anniversary now, of the day George Lucas sold to Disney. Now, assuming that date is accurate, the October 30th one, which is only days away at the time of making this video, it does seem strange that we haven't heard an announcement of any kind one way or the other, though I'd say it's especially strange to not hear anything or something if she is being replaced. You'd think her successor would have already been announced and there would be some pomp and circumstance around Kennedy's imminent departure. That she would be thanked and celebrated by Disney for all she's done for the company, for her years of service, even if they haven't been happy with her behind closed doors, which may or may not be the case. Who knows what they really think about her. And I know many will point out comments made by Bob Chapek, CEO of Disney, earlier this year when he did nothing but praise her. But I really don't know what anyone would expect him to say of Kennedy in that situation, that if they're not happy with her and they want to get rid of her, he's not going to say as much in an interview. Because, as I've talked about before, I think there's almost no chance Disney straight up fires Kathleen Kennedy or comes out and says that they are not going to renew her contract. Instead, no matter how it really goes down behind the scenes, it'll be played as Kennedy willingly stepping aside or stepping away, and again being thanked for her service, if you will. And this will be done to hopefully avoid any sort of controversy that would arise from a woman in such a prominent position and one who's been fighting for more female representation in the industry being fired. That just doesn't play well for Disney. And so with no word coming out about her contract at all, and if it really does expire in less than a week, and one way or another it does expire by the end of the year, that seems to imply two things, especially when you consider when it was extended 3 years ago, there was a press release, there was a big announcement, the month previous or in the month of September. Anyway, this tends to say that yes, her contract will or has been renewed, but since they're not announcing it, they realize this is not going to be viewed as happy news by a good portion of the Star Wars fan base. So it seems they're just going to quietly do it and hope that this upcoming year, or should I say next year, which is packed full of Star Wars content on Disney Plus, starting with the Book of Boba Fett late this December, they're hoping this will bring back and keep fans happy, even if Kennedy is still technically around. And yes, I know I've speculated before that Kennedy would indeed be gone this year, and it looks like I'm going to be wrong. And that's not something I've thought or speculated because of insider information or leaks I've personally gotten from anyone, or that I've heard others reporting on or claiming to be true. Instead, I just try to use logic and common sense and look at it from the Disney side of things, that Star Wars is not pulling in the type of money they had hoped for when they paid a little over $4 billion for Lucasfilm. And I know right away when I talk about this, people will always want to point out how much money the sequel trilogy made. Problem is, each movie made subsequently less money, and The Rise of Skywalker made nearly half of what the first one did or what The Force Awakens did. That's not the kind of trajectory Disney wanted to see these movies take, to say nothing about how poorly the sequels did on the merchandising front. We also have to keep in mind that there have only been two what you could call spin-off Star Wars films, Rogue One and Solo, and that only one of them was profitable and successful. In other words here, and again, looking at it from the Disney perspective or point of view, Lucasfilm has only released 5 Star Wars films thus far, and they've been progressively making less and less money, all the while excitement for the franchise has been declining. And yes, I know The Mandalorian has been a huge success for them, but the films have been disappointing, and we're now to the point where we are in a 4-year gap between Star Wars films, all the while Marvel, also owned by Disney, is cranking out 4 films in a 6-month stretch this year alone, and another 3 films next year. They will literally release 7 films, that's 2 more than Star Wars has released under them altogether, in what is essentially a window of a year and a half, While again, Star Wars won't see its next release until December of 2023 with Rogue Squadron. And you know that can't make Disney happy. You know they were hoping for at least, the very least, one Star Wars film a year, if not more, when they again purchased Lucasfilm. And I know some will want to say or take to the comments and argue that they understand Star Wars is something different than Marvel, that they know they don't or can't work the same way. And though yes, as fans we may or do see a difference between the two franchises obviously, and the way they should be handled, Disney on the other hand does not. Or maybe I should say they don't care about Star Wars on any sort of personal level or have some sort of deeper respect or appreciation for it. They only care about its profitability, and thus far it is not living up to their expectations, which is why I assumed Kennedy would be let go and someone else would be given the reins to take over at Lucasfilm. But again, I seem to have been wrong, and if I had to guess, the reason she'll see her contract renewed or has already seen it renewed is so that she can stick around to see the projects she has personally been responsible for come to fruition or completion. With the main one she'll be kept around for being Indiana Jones 5, which was just recently pushed back to the summer of 2023, which means we're probably in for another 2 years of Kathleen Kennedy, and a 2-year contract extension would take her to the age of 70, which one would think would see her about ready to retire. And yeah, I know there are already other rumors out there that say any number of things about her future with the company, that she'll be staying longer or gone even sooner, or that she is still about to be fired. Even though I've been hearing claims forever now, it seems, supposedly from behind closed doors at Lucasfilm and Disney, that she was going to be fired. This has been going on for years, that there was a war for Lucasfilm that she was losing, and yet here we are with her likely about to have her contract renewed. And so, to be blunt, I put zero stock in what any rumors are saying now, because let's be real about it for a minute. Even if there are actual rumors coming out of Disney and Lucasfilm, and they're not just made up by someone who wants to report on them, how many people really know what Kennedy's fate is going to be? Think about it, the only ones who would actually have the power to remove her are the big wigs at Disney. And do you think the top dogs at Disney are leaking info or spreading rumors, especially when you consider what would happen if it got out that they wanted to fire her? Again, she is a woman in a prominent position that is fighting for women's rights in the industry. So I highly doubt they would want it to leak out that they want to fire this woman. So I think it would be much, much more likely to be just speculation from inside one or both of these companies by some of the employees who enjoy gossip and knowing that if they leak something, even if it's complete BS, someone will run with the story and report on it. And you know people are indeed going to be eager to report on it, even if in the back of their minds they too are highly skeptical, because any story or video talking about Kathleen Kennedy and her future with Lucasfilm is going to get clicks. Heck, I'm sure this will be one of my most viewed videos in months because it's all about her and it automatically stirs up all sorts of emotions and gets people wanting to click. I'm sure I'll hear in the comments from those people who say I only make hate videos, even though those same people never click on my quote-unquote positive videos. It's kind of funny how that works. Anyway, the fact of the matter here is this is a sensitive topic for Star Wars fans. As I said, it's one people both love and hate to talk about. Not to mention, by our very nature, for whatever reason, people love to talk and gossip. That's no doubt how these rumors come to life in the first place within Disney and or Lucasfilm. A couple people talking about what they heard from someone or somewhere else, just like what happens at pretty much every job anywhere ever. The only difference here is the outside world, or the Star Wars fandom, also wants in on that gossip. And very, very briefly before wrapping this video up, let's talk about what Kennedy, most likely staying for another couple of years, means for Star Wars. Well, like I was kind of saying before, I think she's mainly staying to oversee the projects she herself is heavily involved or interested in. Again, Indiana Jones 5, the High Republic series perhaps, the Acolytes show, Children of Blood and Bone, which was recently announced, and so on. That's probably what she'll be focused or working on. And honestly, I don't know how much she'll be involved with or have a say in the Filoni/Favreauverse. Disney has to realize at this point that pretty much everything they've been doing or working on has turned to gold and been successful and has been enjoyed by the vast majority of the fans, which is why I think one of them, Filoni or Favreau, with it most likely being the latter, will eventually be the successor to Kennedy. It could even be, and this is pure speculation, Kennedy will only be overseeing her projects and is being slowly phased out, and she's only being kept around to finish what she started. Well, that's all I've got for you this time. Now it's your turn to tell me what you think about this situation. Do you think Kennedy is staying? And if so, for how long and how much power does she still really have? Or do you think she's still on her way out, that an announcement is imminent, and that she will be gone before the end of the year? Whatever you think, leave a comment below and let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.